This session for yeah, I've started recording this. Okay, so this module covers first few of the things like the introduction side. So coming to the the uses of the cloud. Okay, if you look at the what is the uses of the cloud, um, cloud can be it's a vast subject first thing, and by using the cloud you will be benefited uh, in any different ways altogether. It's not as your on premises. Okay, you can't compare with your on premises and your data center. Okay, you can have your applications running in seconds and minutes of time, where you can up your uh, production website can be taken to the we can take to offline, or we can take the backup online, or make available another website very similar by cloning, or maybe a disaster recovery happens. Example, you want to test it, you can test that scenario, you can go for in a cloud based. Okay, we would see many things in inside the cloud. But these are the few advantages, I would say. Creating new applications in the services, you can store, you can backup, you can recover the data, you can host different websites, and you can have your own blog for free running. In fact, a few of the cloud service providers give you as a free, in fact. Okay, you can deliver the software on demand. You can I mean, for example, if somebody has wanted some kind of software, or say example, there's a project team, they wanted to have uh, a they wanted to have a different hardware specs for testing their project. We never know that becomes when it goes to live. But if you want to set it up, that if you want to give the resources for that project, project management guys, okay, or to that project guys, to buy a machine in the real world. You will buy and you'll raise a PO, and then it should approved, and then the hardware vendor will ship the machine maybe in a month to 45 days time. And then you will somebody has to come, and they have to set it up for you. So it's altogether a month or 2 months time, which is involved. Okay, whereas whereas in this case, if you go to the cloud, you can spin up the machines in maybe 5 minutes time, whatever the configuration you wanted, and you would be paying for what you are using. It's not charged whole amount at upfront. Okay, it's not charging upfront. It will be charged only for what you used. Say example, uh, whatever the CPU cores you are utilizing, whatever the RAM you are utilizing, whatever the storage you are utilizing, that only would be charged. Okay, um, and you can predict the patterns, like say if a user say example, if a user trying to log in to his Office 365, or maybe to his company portal, say from India. Okay, it is his home city example. Okay, the user should always log in from India, but in a few sign-ins if happening from maybe in US, we can suspect it. Okay, that can be alerted, that can be prevented. Even maybe he has shared his credentials, which may not be possible, right? And we can predict many things, not only the for the user identities. We call it as identity services in cloud, very similar to Active Directory. We do have uh, in Azure, we have identity management services called Azure Active Directory Services. We talk on that in the post demo classes. um, Let me go to the consolidate for the benefits. If you look at the benefit, you would be paying for what you use. So definitely the cost would eliminates a lot of capital expenses for buying your hardware, or maybe for software. Okay, or setting up your data centers. Okay, and coming to the speed, you can spin up the services on demand. Say example, tonight I want to have one server. Maybe after 2 days I don't want, I can simply deallocate the services. So I'm not going to pay anything, even though I have a server which is in my cloud, okay, I may not using that service, okay, that's called on demand. Okay, say example, this is the portal, okay, I'll ship here and there, don't mind. If you see, this is the virtual machines, I'll run with the portal once again later. But in general, uh, in general, we do have here, we can create here a virtual machine, okay, say example, in this way. And whatever the virtual machine we are running or we are going to create, that is only whatever the CPU it is going to utilize, that only will be used, okay. And the remaining things cannot be used, okay. I mean, it's not going to build for you, okay. Let me shift back to I mean, we'll create a VM later. And also it's a global scalable. For example, for some reason, maybe a natural disasters, natural issues, maybe some data center got affected, it automatically take case of by going to the cloud computing. That's one of the key advantage. Automatically that load would be taken care by another region of data center, which is hosted in the cloud. You no need to do any additional steps, okay. If you have a VM, which is running in maybe in Japan, due to some kind of tsunami or whatever, natural effect, okay, that can, in that event, the other data center would take it up that machine automatically without any downtime, okay. We would look into that. So you can increase in this way, definitely the productivity and the performance is increased, because you would uh, uh, you would monitored, you would be getting alerts, what is the what level of you know performance it is using. Say example, in a VM there was an application was hosted, due to because of some kind of code. Say example, um, if it is Azure, analytic services was enabled in any case, okay. You have an option. If a code was causing some issue, it will gives you that information in a granular way, which code or which SQL and a query, what is it is running, which is causing or eating up your resources, time. Can be can be a CPU performance, or can be memory utilization. All those things can be easily monitored. And also performance can be in a different way. Say example, you hosted a website, okay. In India, we know that Amazon or mi website, which is a cheap phones, they sell it in India. So they go for a sale basis, basically on weekends or maybe a weekdays. So you have a sales team which are offering a huge discount on your company website. Say due to because of the holidays, they wanted to give a sale. So huge customer may hit that website, okay. In that situation, definitely what would be the takeout is, definitely it would impact because of the unusual data traffic. Say example, a normal traffic would be a million users maybe hitting on a regular base, but in during that specific 1 hour period, more than a million users may be hitting your uh, your website, okay, or your services which you're hosted on your on premises or maybe on cloud. In that case, if it was hosted in the cloud, definitely what would happen is, on demand the processor would increases, or on demand the machines would automatically gets created and it will share that load, um, so that you no need to do it anything, in fact. But the machines will spin up to take that additional load. Say one machine you have, if the CPU percentage goes to 50 percentage for continuous of 5 minutes time, you can put a configuration to give a high performance, to spin up another five additional machines automatically without your single click, okay. It automatically spins up another five more machines, and then the same machine is identical of other 5 VMs, so it would automatically taken care that load. So we what we do is, as an architecture side, we would place a NLB, um, NLP that would automatically analyze the load of the server as well as the the traffic, and it would divert. Similarly, in the high in the performance size, say example, Amazon.com is a global website, but if I'm trying to hit from India, okay, it should go to Indian data center instead of US data center, because there would be latency if I go instead of India VM, or maybe to the Amazon website. If it is going to routing to all over the world and going back to US, definitely there would be a network latency. So in that situations, if you use traffic manager kind of different solutions, okay, uh, from the cloud, okay, say if I use based out India, it always takes that region based servers automatically, so users get more good performance altogether, okay. Similarly, if a user coming from Australia, so it should go to Sydney data center instead of coming to Singapore data center, okay. In that way, it would automatically can be configured so that users get um, more performance, they experience more performance, okay. And it's more reliable, definitely for the backup as well as the recovery, and for the business continuity programs. Okay, so these are the advantages or the benefits what we talked about the cloud computing. Okay, now the cloud computing, there are types actually. Okay, this slide, whatever we are going to talk for the next 4 to 5 minutes, some of you may not get it, may not get at the first attempt, okay, but ongoing, if I go to the next slides like this, you would be getting what I'm trying to say in the first slide, okay. So let me go to that slide, okay. There are three different types, okay. One would be the definitely the first one would be the infrastructure as a service, okay. This one, infrastructure as a service, which in short we call it as IaaS, okay, infrastructure as a service, okay. What exactly this is, it exactly replaces your data center. Say you have a data center in your office, okay, or maybe in your on premises. If you want to host it as it is in your cloud, that is called infrastructure as a service. That means, if you are working as an administrator, okay, you will work as an administrator when you look at yourself in the infrastructure as a service. uh, say, one more example, if you are working in your on premises, if you have a VM, or maybe you have a SQL server, or maybe you have a different server, okay, the same server workload um, can be taken to the cloud. That's called infrastructure as a service. By the way, we are going to learn this as part of the course, okay. And I'm going to talk now on PaaS, which is in a platform as a service. Say example, there's a company called Microsoft, and they developed an application, okay, uh, but they wanted to host it, okay. Say example, maybe instead of the Microsoft, you take it as you have a mobile applications, okay, which um, which require a front end, okay, or the back end connectivity, but you don't want to create a VM, okay, but you wanted to host that information in a cloud, so that whenever you're developing the that uh, application, or maybe you are using the application, the front end and the back end would be hosted on a cloud. You are only least bother about the code which you developed and the backend connectivity. That's it. But we don't look at whether the code is uh, hosted on which VM. We don't care. Okay. As I said, I'm gonna if I slip to the next slide, you would understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. Or if you go through this and that text, okay, you would understand. But normally what happens is, say example, you developed some software, okay, some mobile application, say example Ola cab, or maybe Uber application, and you wanted to host that to cloud. So Uber as a company, they developed that software and they gave it to Microsoft. They hosted on a Microsoft platform. So what will happen is, Microsoft is responsible for providing 24 by 7 support, or 24 by 7 uptime. Okay, for Uber only responsible for their code to run. That's it. They don't look at on what server they hosted, on what region they hosted. It is a responsibility, um, goes to the cloud provider. Okay, because we are not just talking about the Microsoft. This can be anywhere. Okay, infrastructure as a service or platform as a service. This is a type. You take it as a Google or Amazon, AWS or Azure, or you take it OpenStack or any of the cloud competitors. They follow these three standards normally. Okay, one is the infrastructure service, where you create your own VMs and network firewalls, everything which you are responsible. Whereas in the platform as a service, the application only you are responsible, not the VM or wherever it was hosted. We don't have access, we don't see what is that, where it is hosted. Maybe it might be hosted in a Linux, but we don't look into it. We are responsible only for application. Say example, Uber is responsible for the application, and the application availability would be provided by uh, cloud services. Okay, that's called pass. Maybe little bit you may understood. If I go to the next slide, as I said, you'll be more clear. Similarly, software as a service. Okay, say example, most of you already using Office 365, if I'm correct. That goes as a software as a service. Say um, a software as a service in this program, you have one second. Yeah, as a software as a service, normally um, Office 365 was hosted on a Microsoft cloud. Okay, so they developed that application, and they did host it on a cloud altogether, and they are responsible for only the I mean, it was a fixed application. They're not changing anything. So we are using as an end user that application. Say example, this PowerPoint was, or application was hosted in a cloud, and we're simply using that, right? So that comes as the software as a service. That means you're not even concerned about the code. In this case, in the Uber is responsible. In the second example, that is platform as a service, Uber is responsible for the code. Okay, but here I'm an end user. Okay, I'm an end user. I'm least bothered whether Uber how they code it. Okay, how they code is I'm least bothered as an end user. Okay, all I know is I know how to use that Uber application, or maybe I know how to use that PowerPoint or maybe a Word application. So if I put it all together in another way, okay, by clearing the screen to the next screen, this is the best screen which I can talk. Okay, in the on premises, what is happening is um, yeah, let me take a pen. In on premises, you are responsible for your applications, your data, your storage, run and maintenance, the middleware connectivity, your operating system, your virtualization, maybe Hyper-V or maybe VMware. You're responsible. If ESX server goes down, you're responsible. If the storage wants to be increased, you are responsible to allocate a additional storage. Similarly, you're responsible for patch management. You're responsible for um, adding additional drives or maybe reboots, availability of the servers. Similarly for the storage and the network, if a network goes down, you're responsible. Whereas if you go to infrastructure as a service for any of the cloud competitors, I'm gonna once I finish these three types, I'm gonna talk about who are the competitors, what is the market share on the cloud side. But in general at this point of time, cloud providers provides three different services. Again, I repeat, infrastructure as a service, as well as platform as a service, and the software as a service. So in this case, we look at the on premises, we are responsible for end to end. That's where the human resources are, or most of the resources are required. Whereas infrastructure as a service, uh, this entire thing, the operating system, virtualization, server management, like how they connected, what are the racks they are using, or maybe what kind of storage they are using, maybe NetApp or maybe another EMC storage they are using. We are least bothered about it. Okay, what kind of switches, what kind of network they are using, we are least bothered if we are looking about infrastructure as a service. Okay, so in this we are only responsible for our applications which are hosted on our VM. because we are responsible for that VM. Okay, definitely including the data which are available on that VM. Okay, which are available for the runtime. Okay, say example, you have an application earlier in on-premises SQL Server. Okay, on a VM. If you migrate the if you migrated that SQL Server to cloud, okay, you are responsible since it is hosted on a VM. Okay, you are responsible for that VM as well as the data which is SQL database, maybe runtime of the SQL. You are responsible. Say example, for some reason SQL service is stopped, you will log into the machine, very similar to MSTSC. You uh, go. In fact, this is my cloud machine. In fact, okay, wherever I logged in, this is my cloud machine. So I log in from my home, okay, by doing MSTSC and then enter the IP address of that machine. Okay, I gets connected and I'm responsible for that. Okay, we'll talk about the security. It's not like you directly connect it. Everybody cannot connect it. We have different firewall rules and many things. We would talk it. We would talk later point. Okay, maybe while we are creating you know a VM. Okay, by end of the session, I would definitely talk on it. Similarly, we are responsible for the middleware and on the operating system wherever it was hosted. That is responsible by uh, cloud provider. So in this case, if it is a Amazon cloud, AWS is responsible. Similarly here, maybe Microsoft is responsible for virtualization, servers, storage, and network. Okay, if I look at the platform as a service, as I said, platform as a service, we are only responsible for the application. That means uh, how the application code was, developed, and how the connectivity was there within that application. And if any application is not working, we are responsible. Say example, you want to host a SQL database, okay? But you don't want that to be hosted as a infrastructure as a service. I repeat, the difference between infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service is, if it is an infrastructure as a service, you're responsible for the VM also. Okay, in this VM, maybe you have SQL Server, maybe you have IaaS application. Okay, whereas in the platform as a service, if you hosted a website, this website may be hosted on one of the VM which we never know. Maybe it was hosted on maybe hundreds of VMs, but it would come back and it will show for us as the interface as single application only. We don't know where that VM is there. Okay, but we can definitely control. Maybe you wanted that website should be compatible for .NET framework so and so version. Yes, you can control that, but not the backend. What VM is that, and how it was hosted. Okay, we don't look into that. If you're looking for the pass. Okay, uh, and even the similar case for the SQL. So when a SQL server was hosted as a platform as a service, we are least bothered about our performance. Performance would be taken care by completely by Microsoft or maybe a Google, whoever the cloud provider. Okay, this is in general topic for every cloud provider. It's not just the Microsoft, Azure, or Amazon AWS. Okay, similarly, the software as a service is SaaS is responsible. We are not responsible for anything. Okay, so example, now this is a GoToMeeting. Okay, this GoToMeeting was also published in Microsoft Azure as a application. So, say example, you developed some application which is working fine, and you will host that. You'll maybe tie up with the Microsoft and say, hey, this is my application, I want to register with you. Okay, once it was registration is accepted, it available as a shopping experience. Say example, you open your app store or your Google Play Store and you buy that software. Similarly, you can buy from a Microsoft or uh, we would put it as a marketplace. Okay, you will have a marketplace where you buy that software. So as an end user, you are responsible for only application utilization. How you use it, it comes to you. Okay, but but the application development and the availability, the code, all those is goes to pass. Okay, that means here actually happening. If you look at here, development is happening. If you look at here, the administration is happening, right? Here it is end user is working on that. I'm sorry for the drawings. I'm bad at the drawing. Okay, and the same thing I'm going to explain in another few slides so that you would easily understand what I'm trying to talk from the last two slides. Okay, um, yeah. So here, as a software as a service, you're actually buying, right? Uh, if you look at here, SaaS, okay, you're buying. Okay, PaaS is you're actually developing or deploying that application, whereas the infrastructure as a service, you're actually building that. You got my point, right? Here, you build your VMs and you host that IaaS or SQL. Okay, here just the SQL will be there. Okay, just the IaaS will be there. You're at least bothered about how they are hosted. Here, you're utilizing that website. Okay, or you're querying to that SQL database, or maybe you're utilizing that Uber application, or maybe that GoToMeeting application you're utilizing. Okay, and the same slide I try to put in a different way. Okay, if you look at this, uh, if you look at this infrastructure as service, uh, your core responsible for network and your storage, your complete server buildup. Okay, whereas the PaaS is you're responsible for the um, application development side, as well as your storage, where you store the data, how much data you store, and if you deleted the data, you are responsible. Of course, the data will be there, or maybe replication. How, I mean, for example, in the event of disaster, cloud provider is responsible. But in this situation, um, if you hosted the data is availability is responsible for you. I mean, when I say data, inside the data, whatever the values are stored, that is responsible by you. Okay, if you talk about the past. Okay, but the data availability, I know maybe if one data center goes down, you should be available to get the data from different data centers. Okay, that is responsible by cloud provider. Similarly, software as a service, it's purely end user experience, like Office 365. Okay, let's go to another slide. Okay, it was more specifically mentioned here, what kind of when I say infrastructure as a service, data center, in the data center, what happens actually, as well as in the networking, all these, maybe Cisco routers, or maybe security, physical switches. These things actually goes to a cloud provider. Okay, and we use that data center on a rent basis in other way. Okay, if we look at from outside, okay, outside point of view, it's like you're using uh, as a rent basis. So you are just simply using that service which are available. Okay, and a platform as a service, if you look at here, the platform is there, providing you, so you use your applications, you host your applications. Okay, in the software as a service, you're responsible for using as an end user. Maybe my Exchange mailbox, I can send my email. So I'm least worried about sending and receiving emails only, but the application was hosted somewhere, that is responsibility goes to the platforms as a service. That core background was built on a data center infrastructure, that goes to the infrastructure as a service. Okay, so if I go back to the first slide which I was trying to explain here, so platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, these are the three different types which provides by cloud providers. Okay, in this case, we are going to learn actually infrastructure as a service. Okay, this one. But if you look at the platform as service also, it is covered as part of the infrastructure as a service. If you look at, if you go back to my the slides, if you look at here, um, here infrastructure as a service, this contains the total four green blocks, whereas the platform as a service talking about only two blocks, which is application and data. So we're going to learn actually platform as a service, and we will know and we should know how we give that application which was available on a marketplace to end users. So we're going to learn actually all this, but we are focused on this. Okay, in fact, without doing these platform as a service and end user configuration, we don't work on infrastructure as a service. Okay, we work on it end to end. That's why this is more demanded. This course or this area is more demanded. Okay, and I'll just go back to the previous slide. After that, if I'm correct, there should be some questions. Yeah, okay. If you look at advantages side, or the um, if you look at flexibility is high. In fact, for on premises you can do anything because you have full control. If you want to shut down or you want to replace one storage, you can replace. Okay, but you're gonna pay for that actually. Okay, because it's your on premises. Okay, similarly, sorry. Yeah, similarly in the on premises you have full control. You have management side, y- it's a simplicity. Okay, and it's very simple. You don't need to worry. You have the full control. So it's a simple management, and the vendor locking is very low. Say when I say vendor locking, uh, you can buy either IBM server or HP server or Dell server. There's no vendor locking for you. Okay, whereas if you move to the cloud, okay, you have some kind of locking. Like you cannot control the what kind of server you're getting, right? Or what vendor is provided. Maybe Dell and Microsoft tied up more close, and you may getting only Dell server, but at the end it is a VM for you. Okay, so you don't have a control on a physical boxes in the management side. Okay, because it's fully locked. Okay, so these things, I would put it in this way, flexibility is medium, whereas a platform as a service, it's very low. Here, software as a service is very low, and the low flexibility to manage a VM. For example, you want to manage here the where it was hosted, you don't have a control in the pass. That's a disadvantage. Whereas the infrastructure as a service, you have a control of the VM where you can shut down, you can do many things. But at the end, the data center is responsible by the cloud providers. Okay, um, of course, these are the I would say in the management side or the flexibility side, when we talk. And let me go to the next slide. um, just I'm trying to again put. Okay, so we were talking about the, sorry. Yeah. So if you look at what is the characteristics of a cloud computing is, you can say now you can demand on demand. You can spin up your resources. It's a self-service and it's a broad network access. You have resource pooling, rapidly you can expand your services. You can measure your services accurately, and you will be paying for what you are using. Okay, so what we talked about the types. Okay, now these are the types of cloud services, I would say. You see here we're talking about all the time a word called service. Okay, this is a service model. Okay, it's not the cloud types. Okay, going back to the cloud types, actually here you have three different types. Okay, uh, I'll talk about this is generic, not just the Azure, anything. Okay, so in this case, you have a public cloud, you have a private cloud, hybrid cloud. Okay, so in the public cloud, okay, uh, it's an internet-based connectivity connected data center, so everybody is welcome. It's not just the one company. Say example, maybe two different competitors are there. Say example, HSBC is a bank as well as JP Morgan as a bank. Okay, both are the competitors. Example in one industry, they may use on a public cloud. Uh, and the same services they are sharing, maybe on a physical rack, okay, and a physical rack, maybe they have same they may be sharing the same rack, but different VMs because of the isolation. They don't see each other, okay? But maybe they hosted each other in the same rack or same data centers, but it's fully isolated, and they follow strictly all the certifications of physical auditing, and there are a lot of certifications on the data security, uh, uh, data availability, and resource availability, all those things, okay? And it got certified, more than 100 plus certificates. When you compare with AWS, Azure got more certificates, in fact, on the because it's a public, say example, I'm as an individual, I already hosted a VM here, right? Similarly, maybe somebody is hosted, somebody wants to host some data, okay? They can always go for a cloud, even which is a public cloud, okay? So in the public cloud, if you read here, public cloud is not owned by one person, okay? It's a third party provider. In this case, maybe Azure or Microsoft, or maybe a AWS, or maybe a Google, or somebody else is providing you a space, or they're giving you a rent basis, a data center, and you're going to use that uh, cloud, okay? As a public cloud. If you look at the private, okay, it's going to be individual. I mean, it's going to be specific to your organization, so nobody else joined in this data center. So simply you're utilizing a dedicated data center for your requirements. Okay, so instead of your uh, putting in your on premises, you're actually moving everything to Microsoft's or somebody's cloud. Okay, that's called private cloud. So there is another type is public and private. So it's a combination. Some applications say, maybe I don't know, there are 12 members join in this uh, session, okay? But out of these 12 members, at least 10 members, if I correctly guess, Office 365, which is your Office 2016, you're utilizing. That means your organization already hosted in a cloud, which is in a public cloud. Your identities, your user IDs already, okay, migrated to where? To the cloud, public cloud, okay? That's where you're utilizing your Office 365 in this case. So this was provided by SaaS, software as a service. As a Office 365, it is deployed for as end user, and with your username and password it is accepted. That means you're already running in a public cloud. But you think about, you're utilizing in your data center, in your on premises. So it's a combination of public and private cloud. So that's nothing but hybrid application. So it's a hybrid a cloud where some application may be hosted here. Say example, IS is hosted here, okay, but the company is not interested to host the SQL database because that stores your valid information, or your client's information. You don't want to host that on a cloud. In that case, maybe on premises, okay? So in your on premises, you have your SQL server. So if you both connected, public and private, this becomes as the hybrid. This is one type of hybrid. Another type is in a dedicated data center which you can host by this different words altogether called different product called Azure Stack, we say. So in that case, Azure Stack, AZ Stack we call it. Um, in that case, you will have your own data center, which is you're creating your own. So it's going to be a private cloud. Okay, so in other way, hybrid cloud is a combination of public and private. Apart from this, say example, US government or European Union, okay, they wanted to host the government services on, they're not ready to host nor in private or nor in a public, because of uh, credibility or these audits, what happen, a kind of different audits happens against to the government sector. So they may not qualified for those audits, because it is a generic, if you look at the public cloud, okay, this is a general requirement for everybody, not a specific requirement. Say example, you wanted to store your data for In this case, maybe in the public cloud, maybe they offer only 1 year data. Okay, example storing, example for a specific service, but your government organization required, um, you should must store for 10 years. Okay, they're ready to pay for that, but the service should be for 10 years minimum. In that case, they cannot fit for a public nor in a private. So what happened is the cloud providers, they created a government sector cloud, a dedicated cloud for government sector. So they in if the government sector hosted in that cloud, what happens is um, more more services. I mean, whatever the services, or maybe say example electricity department hosting a different their service. Okay, so it's dedicated for only government sector. Similarly, tax department, maybe defense department, or maybe a police department. They all hosted on one um, data center. So you're sharing actually, or you're utilizing, or you're dedicated that data center for only a government organization. That means it's a federal government, so it's fully accepted, and they run their audits, all those things based on the requirements. Okay, so that's not, that's a kind of public government cloud, which I talked in the next slide, if I'm correct. Okay, so this is a public and private definition which we discussed. If you look at the again the advantages, uh, it goes dynamic, multi-tenant. Definitely, it's not just the one public cloud. So different companies comes and uh, they host their applications, but it is fully isolated. One or other cannot see each other, and the data also not shared at all. Okay, and the self-service pay as you go, that means whatever the processor or time you utilize, for that only I'll be charged. Okay, and no capex, the basically you don't need to invest initially. Okay, you will be only paying what you use. Okay, and you can automate, and you can reuse those templates, and you can combine your on-premises with cloud hybrid model. You can scale up, scale down when you have a demand. Say example, as I said earlier, maybe your sales team hosting huge discounts during that time. You can expect one additional load on the service. So during that time automatically it scales up, and it you will be charged for only that specific period. And after that, when the user count goes down or the CPU count goes down, automatically it scales down. Okay, and so now if you look at the who are providers for the infrastructure as a service, you have here you do have Amazon. Okay, Amazon running from 11 years old, and they charged similar to, I mean, we also look at the pricing now, how they charge. Okay, so what I mean, we have crossed two to three different things, like we talked about the normal advantages of the cloud, and then infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and then we talked about private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud, and government sector cloud. Okay, and now it's a time to who actually provides what. So this course is we're going to dedicate for infrastructure as a service. That means there are few companies only provides that infrastructure as a service, but there are many companies they provide software as a service, but not all companies provides infrastructure as a service. Okay, if you look at the history of I'll run a short history on who provides and what is their capabilities and how they charge. So very simple. Amazon provides, they call it as AWS. They're the market leaders. If you ask, out of 100 percentage, 70% of market is covered by almost the AWS. Okay, and because it's 11 years old, um, and they charge based on hourly basis, not on minute basis. Say example, you used your machine for 10 minutes, you will be charged for 1 hour, in fact. Okay, that's their billing cycle. Okay, definitely very similar to your mobile operators. Some uses pulse as 1 second, some uses as 1 minute as a pulse. So in this case, it's a 1 hour basis. Okay, and you have Microsoft as a next competitor. They're the market leaders, and it's almost 7 years old. Okay, this company in Azure, when they come up, they initially started the normal websites as the cloud service. Then they grown up to infrastructure as a service. And now, whatever the since the Microsoft has many server applications for the infrastructure side, uh, they are actually, if you look at the Gartner reports, the recent last 2 years Gartner reports, by 2020 or maybe 2019 also, uh, Azure takes the place of AWS. Okay, and they are going very fast. They're growing very fast, in fact. Okay, and they charge based on the pulse, as per second or per minute based. So per minute it is based. Okay, and then the Google is around 5 to 10%. They hold the share. Okay, and they also started very similar to Microsoft around 6 years. Okay, they also charge based on the hourly basis. And the next one would be, maybe you may not heard this company called Rackspaces, but in US, this is one of the best company for the cloud, and they are very old, from 2006. So Rackspace has tied up with kind of NASA, for example. They tied up NASA, and they started developing a open source application called OpenStack. Okay, now anybody can download this OpenStack under license of Apache licensing. And if you have your own data center, you have your network, and you have resources, you can host this, and you can rent it for your tenants. When I say tenant is, say example, a company wants to host something, or their services on cloud. I know that's called a tenant. Somebody is coming and hosting, that's called a tenant, or a client, we would say, tenant. In this case, OpenStack, by using OpenStack, very similar, you will have your own open source actually. Okay, and if I go to next, IBM started, they're putting most of the earnings from the last past 80 years plus, whatever they have done, they are putting their money in the cloud computing to take the market share. So here, there's a company called Softly. Okay, so that was that got acquired by Microsoft. Then sorry, by I'm sorry, IBM got acquired Softlayer, and then they are coming up with these. Okay, they also charge very similar monthly and hourly. Now HP, what HP has done is, since they have a lot of network, okay, and the storage and the servers, they simply use the OpenStack under free license, and they give you, if you're going, if your company wants to host uh, in HP cloud, then it's going to be OpenStack. They named as HP Helion. Okay, but they charge you, even though that's free. The front end, everything is free, but not the servers and the data center. So they charge you. Okay, this is a Gartner report in the recent. Amazon is 92% market share going, and 88 by Azure and the Google, and 70 percentage. Okay, when they have done the research, and this is the old slide. In fact, Microsoft is already taken up here 40 percentage of the share, and the Google is coming up to the second place, and I mean the third place. IBM is moving to the next place. Okay, and in fact, actually, this is the these are the slides. Okay, let's have a few questions. Okay, by going back to the each slide. Okay, You can unmute. Feel free. Okay. So you have any doubts on benefits or on a cloud services, types of cloud services, or on any of this infrastructure as a service or platform as a service or software as a service? Do you have any doubts on this? Anybody? You can mute yourself, feel free, or I will mute it everyone at once.
Yeah, Raj, here this is Swami.
Yeah,
Can you go to the cloud services slide once?
yeah, this is the one, right?
Yeah, yes. So, as you said, the provider will be charging as a use.
Yeah,
Okay. If I go to IaaS, I mean Infrastructure as a Services,
yeah,
so here the provider will be going to manage OS
yeah. They give you the
and
OS. Yeah,
and I'll be managing the application.
yeah. You're managing the applications inside that. Yeah.
Yes. So, assume that I had been install my application on one of the servers.
Okay.
The provider will be going to charge for OS and even the application or only
No,
for OS.
they charge for your storage. Okay. They charge for the
Mm,
storage. So how
mm,
much you occupied? Okay. They
mm,
charge for the CPU utilization. Okay. And they charge for the RAM, what you utilized. That's it. Okay, maybe you are hosted on that VM SQL server. They don't charge for the SQL because it is your responsible. Whatever inside the VM is there, that is your responsibility. Okay. So example, if the VM, the same VM has, let me put in this way, the same VM hosted SQL. So SQL is eating up your memory and your CPU performance. Okay, you'll be charged for that. Definitely, you will be charged for that. Okay, hope I cleared for infrastructure as a service. Yeah, Katkin,
Yeah.
you got the my point.
Yes.
Okay, so
No,
example,
this question was raised by someone.
oh, somebody was saying, okay.
Yes. And second thing, infrastructure as a service means it comes along with OS support also.
Come on, very good question. Okay, so it is our responsibility to buy what kind of OS you wanted. So, example, while I'm buying, okay, let me jump into the, I know maybe to the portal. Okay, uh,
Can you go two more slides?
yeah,
Because here you mentioned till OS that was managed by provider,
yeah, I'll tell
but
you on this.
after
Yeah, I'll
okay,
tell you. Actually, the OS is like you created a VM, okay? So you have a marketplace, okay? You have while you're while you're choosing a VM, sorry, the operating system. Say you wanted to go for Ubuntu Linux example, okay? So in that case, you have here marketplace, okay? So marketplace is a vendor's say example Ubuntu provides you their latest version of build release. Okay. Similarly, Microsoft has maybe Windows 10. So they give you that build. Okay. Here it is available. What you do is in a marketplace, you take that build. Okay. And you are deploying. Once you deployed, okay, providing the,
okay,
the, I would put it in this way, providing the base OS is by them. Okay. They are ready to provide you from the marketplace. Okay. But
okay,
if something goes wrong within that OS, okay, it is falls under your VM, right? So example, this is my physical machine now, okay. If I install OS on my machine, uh, due to maybe driver's issue, or maybe for some reason if I got a blue screen, okay, in that situation I'm responsible for troubleshooting that. Okay, but not the
Okay.
when I say OS, actually not exactly the uh, it's not the operating system, I would say. Okay, it's a kind of what you choose they are ready to give you. Okay, or if you look at most of you here who are joined are from SSM background. Say example, you have your own customized SOE, standard operating environment, and you wanted to use that example, right? That's a normal normally what we do it, right? So
Yes.
in that situation, you can upload your custom image to the marketplace, okay, where you yourself deploying that image. So it's going to be your custom image, very simple. What you do is you do your sysprep the image after installing uh, all the application, and you do your customizations, and then do the sysprep and do the generalization, and then shut down that VM. So instead of in SCCM, what we do is we take it as a Vim file, right? Now it's not the Vim.
Yes.
Actually, what we do is we perform all these steps in a Hyper-V, and then we take that VHD file and we upload to Azure Marketplace, and then or to our storage we upload it, and from there we deploy it. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So that OS runtime is responsible by us. Okay, so maybe it's confusing for the OS side. No, the OS are once I clear this demo. Okay, in fact, actually, it's not over the slides. You have a few other points actually. So these are the data centers you have. Okay, if you look at here. Um, So if you spin up any of the VM, for example, in South India, okay, which is in Chennai, automatically, the data would be available, another regions, okay, and these are the data centers they have. In count of the data centers, when compared with any of the cloud providers, uh, Microsoft is the leader. Okay, they have many of the data centers. Okay, uh, yeah. Let me go to portal. Okay, anybody else has any other uh, slide related doubts? I would definitely uh,
Yeah, Raj, I have a query. Like you said, like if some of the site is down, it will be taken it automatically from the other side, right? So whether the clone will be happening automatically, or you have to set like
no, very good question, Abdullah. What happens is while I create the VM, okay, I can choose the availability. Let me tell you, I mean, this is not the exact session which I can explain, but if you can capture, that would be very good. Okay, what I'll do is while creating a VM or my resource, okay, say example my applications is a resource. I have two application failures, right? One would be the physical. Say example, this is the same hardware rack, okay, and you have two power supplies, right? One for regular, other one would be the redundant. So both of them
mhm.
got down, or maybe two internet
Okay,
connection providers for the same rack, server rack. I'm talking about the server rack. So you have multiple VMs on this. Okay, it could be a
okay,
single point of failure if both goes down, or maybe a power grid down, or natural disaster happened. Okay, so this considered as a physical, right?
okay,
Other one would be the downtime for your updates. Say example, you want definitely every machine must be patched, right? So one or other day you would take it the server further down. So these are the two failures, right? Okay, so this we talk it as the availability. This is okay, we call it in Azure availability. Okay, and so once we choose this, okay, what we do is for the physical there would be 3 to 5 ratio. Okay, so example, while I'm choosing, I would say that I need at least the physical failure not to happen on 3. That means what happens is this gets automatically replicated to 3 additional regions. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, let me go to that slide. You have seen the data centers, right, slide. So there it would automatically replicated one of those data centers automatically. Then you covered the physical disaster. Next one would be the
Okay.
update. Okay, for the update also, what happens is for the update, uh, Microsoft has a, I mean, the patching would be done by, if it is a platform as a service, say example, okay, not the
Mm-hmm.
VM. If it is a VM, definitely you are responsible, right? You have to patch it, okay. But if you take
Okay.
it platform as a service, okay, it's responsible by Microsoft, not by you. You're at least bothered about where is your data and how it is coming to you. You are responsible for 99.49's availability. That's it, right? So in that case, what happens is here, automatically this data would be replicated to 3 additional regions. So it can be maybe west side, west Europe, or maybe east US, or east US2 data center here, west side, 3 different locations. So if one goes down, other one would be available for you. Okay, that's
Okay.
how, see, any solution is not just the next to install. We are why we are recruiting is, why we have a job is because we have to plan in a such a way it should give high availability, and we are gonna learn the architecture side. So that's where uh, we have a job, right? So as an architect, we should plan how high availability we can give to the customer, or to our own company if it is our own, right? Hope I cleared
Okay.
your question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Raj.
Yeah. Any other questions? Let me know. Let me jump into the portal. This is the okay. How you can let me open the private mode. Okay, how you can learn this. This entire course is designed to give you uh, whatever I'm performing, or purely live practicals. Say example, if you look at my, I do have my physical hardware. Okay, I would migrate very similar to what you migrate from your on-premises data center. Okay, and we do even set it up. Say example, in your you do have your Active Directory in your on-premises. Similarly, I do have my own Active Directory where we can sync up. And you can also create, if you don't have, even in the month of the last, from the last month, which is July 10th or 15th onwards, you can have your own lab actually, in fact, with the nested VMs, nested virtualization, which is supported by Microsoft now. You can 100% you can practice all scenarios. There is no single scenario which you cannot do a practical. Okay, think that you have a on-premises data center you want to migrate, the entire setup can be migrated as it is. That kind of practicals you can do it without paying anything. You can learn it actually, in fact. Okay, so the first thing is you can go for either Bing or Google, try Azure. Okay, so this would take to a portal, okay, where you can sign up for a free Microsoft Azure account. All you need to have is one email ID and one identity management. Say example, you should prove yourself as you have some identity. So Microsoft, what they do is they give you a free credit of almost in Indian currency 10,000 plus, in yours to $200. Okay, so what we do is with the $200 credit, you can uh, you can learn this entire lab. Okay, so once you sign up here, okay, uh, you need to enter your credit card details. Okay, to um, to prove that you have some identity. That's it. Okay, or not to misuse these services. Once you uh, gave your credit card details, or your Visa or Mastercard details, or Amex details, they charge you $1, or in Indian currency 2 rupees. Okay, and they revert back the 2 rupees to you. They revert back to you $1. So it will be credited to you $200. Okay, by validating your identity, they give you the $200. That means they're not charging anything, and whatever the resources you're using within the $200, it's more than sufficient for your lab, in fact. And then once you signed up, uh, say example, it is valid for 30 days. Okay, post 30 days, what will happen is, post 30 days, the account goes to stop state. That means you are not charged anything. Okay, if you leave that in that way also, or if you never signed up, or one of the virtual machine is running, but you never go back, it goes to stop state, since you don't have a balance. Okay, and they are not going to charge you on your credit card or your debit card. Okay, that way you will get the $200 credit, and then you can spin up the VMs like I'm going to do now. So I did already have a account. Okay, in the past, all the sessions I used to have create my own account, but now I have already one account. So the first thing is, this is the one. How do you log in? So the login is two ways. In the past, Microsoft has a legacy portal. Okay, uh, this is how do you create your VMs, network switches, storage. Everything would be done over the web portal. Okay, the portal is the current portal is portal.azure. So if you go to the portal.azure, okay, this is a portal which is the first interface for you. Okay, once you log in like this, it will ask you for your definitely your user ID, password. If you have the balance, it gets added. After that, it will show you like this, whatever the credit balance you have. Okay, in this case, it has the balance of 9,000 plus, and if I don't use it, it will expire after 30 days. Okay, and this is a dashboard. You can create multiple dashboards here. Okay, we'll talk about the dashboards okay later. And this is the navigation site. Okay, here, if you want to here you have Active Directory, you have monitoring, you have billing. Okay, you have support. Similarly, if you click on new here, this gives you a marketplace. This is see all is the marketplace. So here, everything, you name any of the application, it might be already there. So example, if I want to spin up a VM with only SQL Server, it's already available for me. That means I no need to install SQL. SQL is readily installed with available um, with all the patches. I can simply spin up that VM maybe in another 2-3 minutes. That's it. Okay. Similarly, Ubuntu server, or maybe a Oracle database I want to spin up. I can do that. So it's easy to find out in your marketplace. As I said earlier, marketplace is very similar to your Google Play Store or your App Store, where you have some apps. Okay, you can buy it. So example, I want to buy now a Visual Studio. I can simply go and buy the Visual Studio. That gets the example Windows 10 with Visual Studio. I can spin up a machine here. Say example, if I want to spin here, create, and then I can spin up a VM. I'll do that in a minute, but I'm just trying to explain here marketplace now. Similarly, in the marketplace, you have categorized. Similarly, in your Google Play, you have games, money matters, or uh, different categories altogether, productivity, all those things. Similarly, here they also did categorize like compute. So compute is only the VMs part. Okay, you have Windows Server 26 Data Center Edition is available. If you want to spin up, simply click on next and then do that. Otherwise, the same marketplace also here you can see here compute network. Say you want to create a network, virtual network, you can do that. You want to have your own VPN server, you can do that. Virtual VPN, that's a VPN server. Okay, similarly, you want to spin up a virtual I mean sorry, a website or a mobile front end website, you can do that. Mobile web app. Okay, you want to spin up only data center. This is where I'm coming to the pass. Okay, so it spins up only data center. Okay, it's not going to ask me what VM I'm gonna choose. It says that, what is that database size, what is the database name, and what kind of plan or the pricing you want to choose. Okay, uh, that's it, but not the VM here. If you look at, okay, this comes into the pass side. Okay, so if I choose here, for example, cloud, under compute, so example, I want to have Windows 2016 data center server. So this is how you create a VM. Okay. Mm, so here I need to enter, um, what is that VM name? Say example, my demo test VM example. Okay. And now what is that storage you want to use? Do you want to use as a premium storage? I'll talk on what is premium, what is normal storage. Okay, there is a methods which you need to design, as part of course. You should learn those those things. So in this case, I want to choose as SSD, so that my machine gets more performance. Okay, so here I can say, like Azure Admin, for example, I can choose the password, whatever the password I wanted, uh, and then okay. So this is going to be the admin account. Okay, say example, if I choose here the account name as administrator, you see, it's going to throw error. Okay, administrator. So it says that, hey, this is a guessable username. Don't use this. Okay. If I put a password also similarly, it doesn't allow me to choose. Okay. So I'm choosing as Azure admin now, for example. Now this is the subscription which you subscribed for free trial, right? So that's a subscription you have, and then here you'll be choosing your resource group. I would take a whole day on resource group in the future classes, but for the moment, resource group is one umbrella. Under that umbrella, you will have networks, you will have your storage, you will have your uh, whatnot, everything. Okay, everything would be under a resource group. Say example, when I say everything, your VM, your storage, your network, your IP addresses, your firewalls, everything will be under resource group. So that's the first place what you have to create. So in this case, there's no resource group, existing resource group. So I'm going to create a resource group as a test resource group. Say example similar to this, or maybe I can say this, uh, maybe Hyderabad, you know um, Hyderabad resource group. That means my VM belongs to Hyderabad, say example. So that Hyderabad resource group may have multiple VMs coming up in that. Okay, so let's give as Hyderabad. Okay, and what location you want to host this. Say since I'm sitting in Hyderabad, maybe it's better to choose my nearest region is South India example. Okay, but I go for US because my subscription is based on US. We'll talk on that. Okay, um, so East US I'm gonna choose. Okay, or East US 2. Okay, so it says that I don't have subscription is not allowed, so I'm eligible for East US 2. Not allowed. Okay, so here West is, yeah, West is allowed for me, so I can choose West US. Okay, so what we have done is we're trying to name the virtual machine names here, like VM name and the type of storage, whether you want to go for a premium. When I say premium, you will have uh, high ops. That means read and write would be um, more output. You would get it, not the normal SATA disk. Okay, not the normal magnetic storage. It's the SSD solid state drive. Okay, and then I can say spin up now. If you have a license of Windows license, you own it by as part of your Microsoft agreement, you already bought Windows 2016 license, it's gonna cost you 40% less, in fact. Okay, click OK. So this is the basic thing, and now Now the thing is, now the thing is like this is a VM. Okay, so in this VM, let me um, choose what I wanted here. Say example now with the premium store, I want I want say let me go for maybe 10 cores if it is available with the premium storage. So I do have with the 10 core processor. Okay, uh, and the RAM is 64 GB is available for me, so I can choose if I want this. But if you look at the pricing, I'm going to charge in Indian currency. This is INR, because my subscription I converted to INR. Okay, if it is US based, it would be in dollars. Okay, so I'm going to build for 39,000 per month if I use 16 core with a 16 GB of RAM. But I know the workload on this VM is very less. Okay, in that case, I can choose here view all. So I have a lot of other VMs available here. Okay, if you see, some of them are grayed out. For example, this is a type of the VM name or image, I would say. So this is E32S underscore V3. This is not available in this data center. The West to US data center is not available this VM. That means not all the flavors is available on the VM, but Microsoft trying on their best to get it available um, on all the data centers. Okay, but could be some kind of say example, some kind of data maybe from European Union to they should not replicate to some other data center. So in that case, they have to stop it. So definitely such few such exceptions, you may not have all these services. But that's why while you're creating, or while you're choosing your resource, you should be looking at whether this resource is available or not. I can give you best site where you can go for your pricing and the limits, many things we have. I'll definitely give you as part of the codes, okay, how much you're going to charge. For example, if I open my calculator, I want just the a virtual machine. Say example, my virtual machine is West US. I mean, this comes into the planning, okay. Say example, with one core, 3.5 GB of RAM, I would be charged $100 per month. Okay, this is 31 days actually. Okay, that's how you would go for the calculation. But that the same thing which is available here also, so that you can choose whatever the best one you want. So in my case, okay, I can, if I go to the normal SSD, in any case, in the initial, it would not even charge for me 2,000 to 3,000 Indian rupees, which is almost $50. Okay, if I choose the normal SSD in the initial step. Okay, I can choose, maybe, my workload is 4 cores and 16 GB. I'm okay for if I run continuously for 31 days, right? It's not the, for example, I can schedule my VM because my business hours are my maybe 9 to 6 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I can shut it down after 6 p.m. automatically. That is the advantage. If I do that schedule, what happens is I'm not going to build for 6 p.m. to morning 8:59 a.m. Right? I will be only built for 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that means I'm build whatever I'm trying to utilize. Right? So you can run automated scripts. You don't need to write a really script for that. I'll show you. It's almost single clicks, so that you can save your data. Okay, so this is the a managed disk or non-managed. I would talk on that, but this is where it is going to create a subnet actually. This is the switch kind of thing. We call it in Azure terms VNet. We call it as virtual network. So it's going to create this subnet. Okay, virtual net. Okay, virtual VNet we called, and in that there is a one VLAN is getting created with a class 24 address. Okay, and if I want, I can go for a public IP or no. It's again depends on me. And if I want that public IP to be remain all the time same, I can choose that. Okay, but in real world, you don't need this public IP, because what you do is, um, your on premises, the servers, um, y- I mean, to your data center to cloud, there would be a different site-to-site VPN connectivity would established, or maybe express route. There's something called, express route. I will talk on, in the next classes, definitely, where you set it up. Say, example, you have an office in US and you have an office in Europe. So both offices would connect over the wire or somehow, right? Similar way, you do have multiple options like site-to-site VPN, or maybe express route where lease line, the lease line concepts, right? Lease lines. So similarly, you have a express route kind of options where a private line tunnel goes between your data center to Microsoft Azure data center. Okay, we talk on that later. um, so you don't need actually public IPs, all those, because if you expose, there's no point. Say example, you guys all knows this 52.193.94.243, and if try to OTP, definitely you can block my ID if you know the user ID, all those things. But um, definitely you're not going to use the public IP. Whenever it required, you will be using it. You can design it. So this is your firewall. Say you have, we call it as a NSG, so a network security group. um, Everything is a software based, guys, here. Earlier we used to have everything as a hardware. Like if you want to buy a switch, it's going to be a physical hardware. See here, the switch is nothing but your virtual network here. This is your switch. On that switch, we are creating a VNet, one VLAN altogether, right? And similarly here, it's a firewall. So in within Windows, you have a firewall. Also, you have a firewall in between. Okay, and there you're allowing a rule actually. If you see here, if anybody wants to connect by using 3389, you are allowed. Remaining all ports are blocked. Okay, so that's the option. And as I said, I mean, this is not, I can't discuss right now, but I can just show you a little bit. Somebody was asking about the high availability. Look at this, availability. So I can create here availability. Okay, say example, I can say my fault domains. This is, I can name it something like my uh, you know critical server example. This is critical server. I would say fault is 2. That means physically 2 machines should be available all the time. That means they make sure that Microsoft makes sure that the same server was not hosted on the same rack. Maybe they host somewhere else so that it is highly available. If one goes down, other one would be always available. But we don't see what is that the second machine. For us, it is only a matter the front end one machine. That's it. Similarly, the update. So that means 5 other machines would gets created as part of for patch management or anything. Okay, I can choose that also. And simply click OK. So that would make me this is another almost 30 to 40 minutes class on high availability sets and scale sets. I would talk on that in the real classes. Click OK, and then you're going to purchase this if you're okay with this. If you look at here, this also have giving a template method. So why you want to do it the repeated steps, if you want to build maybe 100 machines at once, you no need to do that. Simply download this zip file, okay, which is coming here. This is a JSON file, okay. um, this is a PowerShell script which is already written for you. If you execute this, it will ask you the only parameters. If you supply that parameters, it gets created automatically. And if you are good into the Linux guy, if any one of you Linux guy, this is a script already available for you. Okay, simply execute the script. Okay, and it will be ready for you, the VM. If you're a .NET guy, if you're a developer, yes, you don't need to come to the portal. You can simply run from Visual Studio directly this code. Okay, so that creates your VM. And if you're a guy for Ruby, yeah, this is the a code. Okay, and this is the template. If you're not any of these, but you're just the admin, you're not a programmer, yeah, definitely you can do it with this just template. Or you can simply deploy it. That's it. It goes to the deployment. Okay, simply like this. You can choose, it is asking for the we did already mention the VNet name, all those things. So simply, if I purchase, automatically I get that VM. Okay, so I'm going to purchase now this VM. So if you look at the time is 4:30 a.m. now on my EOS. So in few minutes this VM gets created. So what happens is, in the background, it actually creates a resource group. Okay, this is a resource group. If we go here, this is the first thing, because a resource group is the first umbrella. Under this umbrella, every component would be available. Say if I click OK, so it is taking to the next tabs. So this is called blades. Actually, if I click on add something, example, this is jumping to another blade, right? So we call it, these are the blades. This is the dashboard. Okay, and you have all these. So example, you don't see here something. What you can do is you can go to the more services and you can pin it. See, this is the star button is pinned. I don't want to see my billing, so I can take it out. Billing gone. Okay, I don't want to. I want to see, for example, my VMs. Example, it's already available. Okay, I want to see my skill sets. I can do this. Okay, uh, I want to see my network services security groups. That is my NSGs, my firewalls. Yeah, I can choose. Okay, so this VM is getting created. I don't like this if I don't want. I mean, since we have time, while this is getting created, I can show you the dashboard. I don't want this dashboard. Say example, I can simply delete this. I don't want this. I want my marketplace. Yes. I want the health of the marketplace. Maybe I want the clock and the time I want to see. Maybe the time here in the PST time I want to see, example, in a 24 format. Click OK. And this is a service health. If any of the service is down, you please let me know here. So this is a dashboard, drag and drop. You don't need to uh, do many things. Maybe time is here good, but the VMs, all VMs should go in one place. You can do it, drag and drop. You can customize many things here, and once you have done, simply say done customization. So that will show you the health of the uh, service. I need to configure this actually. Uh, so it gives that dashboard automatically for me. Okay, the time, all those things. Okay, any guys, any doubt as far as, because I know that I can't directly go to the portal and resources, all those things. I go in a different way altogether. Um, but since it's a demo, I wanted to combine a little bit more information. So what we are going to learn is actually, let me open demo slide. What I opened is the production slides. That's 1 second. This is the demo slides actually. So that's a different PowerPoint. This is a different PowerPoint. I made it for. So what we're going to learn is we're going to learn 70533 exam related, which is infrastructure related. This is a base. This is a base, core base, not the normal base actually. Uh, if you learn this as admin, okay, you can do very similar to the activities which you do on premises, can be almost can be done on your uh, cloud. Okay, this is a base one. After this, you can go for the architecture side, which is in depth. Like for example, you have a end user expecting, for example, you have an end user, he's expecting high availability. How do you design? So the designs are, maybe you have you want to place NLB, you want to place some cluster, or you want to put some SQL database here backend, and then you want to put some cache for the queries, or you want to put a cache in front, or maybe NLB front. All this designing side would come into this 70534. That means as a base you must have the 533 knowledge. Without 533 knowledge you cannot go for 534. That is clear. Okay, and if you're the developer, yeah, you can go for 532 exam, which is whatever we have just created. Similarly, everything can be done from the Visual Studio also. So in the class, what I will do is I'll try to I'll focus definitely this 533, and also I'll talk on 534 components, and also 532 few of the concepts, like say example, if a developer stuck for creating a VM, since the creation of VM or creation of NLB, choosing the data store, or maybe your storage, is actually, we know more than the developer, right? So but at the same time, how the developer want to integrate these services, if he's stuck, we should know how to run the code, or how to a way to check how to integrate the SQL, all those things. We would also I would actually go into the 532, allow to go, and I would run few things, not few, many things in the Visual Studio, in fact, on Visual Studio Community Edition, which is free edition. And then we create VMs, NLBs, many things in the 532 also. So I would put it in this way: it's not only the exam focused. Yes, it is also focused to teach more on the Azure. Okay, and let me go to the next slide. Yeah, these are the data centers. So in fact, actually, I could have actually go with this. So you have different services inside the Azure, like you have computing side. When I go with the uh, this one, the portal, okay. If I go to the portal, you know that you're able to see the. Come on, where's my portal? Yeah, in this portal, you have here new as the compute, all these things. So these are the a kind of services. So we would touch up many things. If you're a scom guy, example, okay, you have operations manager. So here OMS we call it as. um, so this is the OMS for ops logic. Okay, just the. So operations, operational insights. Okay, many things are there. Okay, but the thing is, like here, I wanted to focus on these are the services. I would put it in a different categories. So the slide which I'm talking about, the slide is in the demo slide. If I go to the demo slide, this one, D for demo, you have for compute, these all the things. For the network, you have switches, DNS. We talk about DNS. How do you integrate with the on-premises DNS, and only what happens if it is purely cloud-based DNS? Do I need to host any DNS? No, not required. In fact, if you're purely based out only cloud only, if you're if you're integrated with your on-premises, how do host it? How do uh, do I have a requirement to host on my any of the domain controller on my cloud? We would discuss application gateways, traffic manager, express route. These are different services within the each bundle. Say example, compute, network, storage. So here, whatever the work are doing by our storage guys, we also allow to do this, and we will learn these storage things. So the networking guys, for example, they create a switch, they create a firewalls, they do the routing, all those things. Similar things we do it in a cloud. So what is happening is, here if you clearly notice, we're actually replacing a network guy, we are replacing a storage guy, we are replacing a website hosting guy, or a Wintel guy replacing a AD guy here. These are the additional services which are offered by Microsoft, okay, which is not available in general with any other cloud provider. That's where Microsoft are very strong, and uh, because of the additional other services, because these things are provided by everybody, but not these like additional things. Okay, so Azure AD is one other thing. Okay, and multi-factor authentication. Say example, a user logs in, it should in the second attempt, it should actually validate his identity, because we never know if the password was shared or maybe stolen by somebody else. So he should receive a phone call, automated phone call, or maybe uh, an SMS in this case. Okay. Uh, that's called a multi-factor authentication that can be set it up like this. Many things we would definitely talk on uh, other services also wherever it is possible. Okay, but we would talk about Azure AD definitely. So these are the normal compute section has these batches like a computer task is that it runs maybe a 2 days time. So maybe in between, if any interruption problem, some task like space related tasks by NASA example, they can't run in a day or two. It takes a month's time. In that case, it goes to the batch. Like that, there is no requirement of a service. Say example, um, if you reach if a website is down, okay, example, some website is down, which is not owned by us, even that website, okay, you want a automated action to be triggered if exit example, okay, if triggered, if event happen, you want to trigger something. For that you don't need any server actually. You can go for a functions, which is serverless technology. Okay, this is the future, in fact. Okay, the serverless technology can be go here. So this is the serverless technology. Similarly, scale sets. Say example, one identical server can be created, and that in the backend, the same service can be created automatically 10 to 100 or maybe 1,000. Okay. Say example, if the load is coming up, one server would be fine, but when it goes to a more load, it can spin up automatically thousands of machines up to 1,000. If it is your customized SOE image, you can only spin for 100. Otherwise, you can spin up to 1,000 machines automatically. Okay, and let me similarly, you have network components, mobile storage. Okay, so traffic, how to divert. Okay, mobile development, containers, the databases. Okay, Cosmo DB, which is NoSQL. That means all these days we know SQL. SQL is a relational database. That means something will be unique. That's why we call it as a RDBMS or the SQL Server. But now the things are changed. Okay, you take it as a Facebook data is coming up, or Twitter data. Twitter data is always dynamic. If some event is happened, it comes based on a hashtag. So you can't always specific or have a template that hey, this will be in a table. Normally student name number will be there. Example, that is always a unique student number. But if you go to the Twitter, maybe Twitter feeds, maybe something goes down, maybe North Korea issue example. So that's a Twitter tag. So that's a dynamic tag which was trending. So you can't that kind of data, if you want to analyze, you cannot analyze in a SQL database. So that's called Cosmo DB. So we would we should know what kind of databases are available. Similarly, artificial intelligence cognitive services like your Cortana, computer services, or Bing safe services, all those Internet of Things, IoT things. All these are the services which are available. Okay, and we would use them uh, as part of the course. We'll try to touch up other services so that you would aware. These are the services are available. But our core area or core learning would be to the infrastructure as a service, or a platform as a service, or application delivery method. But you should know that there is Cosmo DB. So we touch up that Cosmo DB. We touch up SQL Server. We touch up the SQL migrations. We do Hyper-V migration, your Hyper-V server. We touch up the SQL migrations. Similarly, a website is available. You migrate that. You have a server load. We put a server load in our live classes. Um, to increase the CPU load to go to 90 percentage. Okay, and then automatically it spins up multiple machines. When the load goes down, automatically it comes down. um, like backup and disaster recovery, all these things we practically we do it along with the basic understanding. I hope it's already created long back. If you see here 5:30, 4:35, that is 30, which I was talked, within 5 minutes it got created. This is the notification area. So what I can do is I can go to my VMs here. Okay, so this is a VM. Um, so I can simply go here, connect, or if I want to see the console of that VM, what is happening, I can go to the diagnostics. Okay, boot diagnostics. Say example, we never know, right? If the server has a blue screen, we never know. So Microsoft provides you this kind of screen where it refreshes all the time. See, the time got changed. Okay, um, so you can if you forget the password, you can always reset it from here. Okay, or you want to it when something went wrong, you want to redeploy without losing any data, you can do that. Okay, and in the overview you have an option to connect. So if I say connect, what happens is it downloads a VM MST file. If I go to the folder, okay, if I edit, okay, just want to show you. See, this is the IP, public IP, which was created and assigned. If you go down, uh, network interfaces, this is the public IP got assigned, but in fact internally it also assigned automatically 10, I mean the private IP, which is 4. Okay, see, that's a public IP which is 178, and then the port is 338 colon 338. If I zoom, I don't know if I can zoom, but in general, colon 338 is that. The reason 338 is we do have security group called demo test vm.nsg. Okay, this nsg, that is security group, here security group, this is this. Mm, if you look at here, we have a policy to allow only RDP protocol 3389. Okay, so if I change that to something else, definitely nobody knows that port. So I only know, so I can connect it on that port. Say example, if I connect, so it will ask for the username, which is very similar for me, right? So I forgot Azure admin, if I'm correct, Azure admin. I forgot the password. Oh, okay. 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 Okay, I forgot the password. Okay, so let's put the password to be reset. Okay, I can go back to the previous blade, which is test password, which takes maybe a minute. I'm sorry, guys. Azure admin is not accepting. That's a problem. Let's put some password. Okay. Okay, I'll say update. So it's going to reset the password. I no need to redeploy the entire image. So I hope it will do in a minute or so, max. The user ID is Azure admin. You may be wondering, since we got an opportunity, we can talk. You may be wondering how it is doing, because there is an agent called an Azure agent which is running all the time on the machine. Okay, that's where you do the automation. Say example, if you have a background of SCCM, always the SCCM client would run, and that would do the work. Here, there would be different extensions, we call it. Okay, different agents would always run. That would automatically triggers these kind of activities. And I can set even the let me go here. Yeah, it's done actually. See, it's done. So I can simply click OK to connect. So it's connecting, right? So I can say connect it. Okay, I got connected. Now I got 2016 VM, if I'm correct, which I've created. So the VM is available. So I can use this machine as normal machine. Okay, so what happens is this is a 16 GB RAM with a 4 cores, whatever we have requested with a Xenon processor, we got it, and this is the machine name. If you look at my computer or this PC, you have C and D drive which we have not specified. D is a temporary drive which was created as part of Azure. Okay, Azure creates and it stores the data. Whatever you put it here, it would be lost. So don't save anything in the D drive. You got now SSD performance machine is available now. You can play with it. Whatever you want to install any application. It's a normal application, normal server. The way you want, you can host it. Okay, um, and if you look at the say example, I don't want I enhance. I can take it out. I can so that I can easily browse. So now the machine is provided with a very good internet connectivity. Say I can install like Chrome kind of other application example, simple application I'm just trying to show you. It's a normal application. There's no difference between. So it's a VM, right? So if I do a speed test, I don't know if I correctly typed. So this is going to test. I don't know if I have plugin is enabled. So this is actually capable of measuring only 100 MB, but if we put overload, it does that. Okay, this is my speed connectivity. You look at 1 Gbps, 1.5 Gbps of internet speed what I have for my VM which I have created. Amazing, right? So think about it. Okay, so you have all the flexibility where you can use it. This is the power of if I don't want this VM and simply um, simply I can stop the services. Okay, um, so that's a VM, okay, which we have created. And if you don't want to build, okay, what we'll do is if you shut down, okay, say example, if you shut down, still it charges, because you think about it, there was a public IP is assigned for this machine, right? So the public IP is reserved for you. It's not deallocated. So there's something called let me shut down and show you. Let's go and shut down this PC. So if you look at here, the overview here, the machine is, let's go to VMs first. So here it was running status, right? So in a minute or so, once the machine is perfectly got shut down, not it. So in a minute it says that it has shut down, but not the deallocated. Okay, I think it got stuck because we opened few windows. Let me relog in. Yeah, you look at here, status is changed to stop. But if you look at the above warning message, it says that no, it's not there. So they remove that. Okay, it is stopped, but it is not deallocated. That means the billing would still charge for you. Okay, yeah, here stopped. but it's still computing charges will apply. That means the CPU charges will apply and your IP charges will apply. Storage anyway you have to bear. So what you have to do is you have to stop it. So then it releases that resources, whatever it was dedicated for you, so that they can assign for some other tenant or some other person who rented the data center. Okay. So here you can do the auto schedule for shut down all those things. Okay, you can also send an email. All those things can be configured. Okay, and if you are looking for one more demo, it's a PaaS site. If you want to connect to SQL, if you want to host a SQL server like this, you can go here. Say I want my demo SQL. Okay, that's my database name. Okay, I'm going to use my existing resource group this time because I do have Hyderabad as the resource group, right? I can use that, and it's a blank database. Okay, or you want sample adventure database, it's up to you. Okay, so in my case, I'm choosing it's a blank database, and the performance, this is the server name only, so that it's going to be created based on this name. Say example, it should be unique, like I can't give my name example, so if because it was somebody has taken already, so it should be maybe LAN 501 example. So and then the account user ID. Okay, and where this database is going to create. Okay, so this is how PaaS admin can create. Of course, we also can create. Once this is created, this is a pricing tag, what we choose it. Okay, we'll talk on this for the demo. We don't have a premium and RS. There's only one limitation within the demo, but whatever the premium and RS does, the same things will be done by the standard and other things. So this is calculated by CPU performance. This itself take one class, how to calculate, where is a calculator, and how do you charge for that performance of the database. Okay, so it is creating 250 GB of uh, database size with a performance of S1, or if you go upper level, okay, maybe S2. These are the uh, you know options you have for the billing: S1, S2, P1, P2, PR. All these things we would talk later, okay, in the real class. But this is where it charges. After that, if I say create, it's going to create a SQL database. Now what happens is it's not asking me the VM name, right, guys? So the VM management is responsible by um, Microsoft. We are concerned only on database, right? So this is one way. Other one would be the creating a web application. So the web application also, I can create here a website, simple website, for example, web app. In fact, we do create in Visual Studio some web application. We code it in the live class, and we simply test it. And from Visual Studio, automatically the code, when we execute and build and change it, continuous code deployment would happen to Azure. We test that, we do that. In fact, that goes to other exam, that's a 70532 for the developers. Still we do that because we want to uh, we should have an idea that what developers are trying to do, so that we can easily help them. We can understand what's happening. Say example, this is a one website. I don't want to go to this Visual Studio, but still I want to do it. I can do here. Maybe my LAN 501 example, and this is my subscription. I want to, based on Linux example or Windows, I can choose it, I can create. So what happens is now LAN 501.azure.net website would create for me, and then the developers would um, they open up in a Visual Studio this code by connecting to this site. Of course, the permissions, all those things we would grant them. Then they code it, they design that. So in this case, the SQL was created. If I go my databases, I should be able to see here the database. Okay, this is the database. If somebody has SQL Studio Management, unfortunately I don't have here, but in the next session, if you want, definitely from the next session, Visual Studio and SQL studio management, we would have, we would allow to connect it. So this is the database. You can review. If you want replicate to another database, simply say I want since this is West US too, I want to replicate to Australia. Simply select it and say replicate. That's it. you know as a you'll have the a visual presentation to move the data also. Okay, so you are visualize what is happening actually in the geo replicant. Okay, this is a pricing tab we talk in a class definitely, as I said. And threatening and the performance, everything. If you're anyone from the SCOM background, SCOM is going to be replaced. It has OMS. The OMS related logs would be applicable, or can be collected here. Um, those things can be integrated. We would look into that also, in fact, as part of the course. And I hope this seek the website also got created. If so, I can go to the web apps. Um, so no, it's still deployment. In meantime, anybody has any questions so far? I'm sorry, to be honest, I'm very fast. I'm really fast. I know that, but in the next sessions, I'm not going to, dump everything at once. Okay. So for the resource group, or how the network card we have to assign, what kind of IP or DNS, we go through in detail of each and every component, and then we create a VM. Just to create a VM, I took here maybe a 5-10 minutes job, but in the real class we are not going to do that, because many components are involved. You should understand what is resource group, how the VLANs are set it up. If what happens if you have Hyderabad as a resource group, Australia as another resource group, how do you integrate, how do you communicate both, and how the name resolution would happen. Okay, and all those scenarios based we would discuss, and we would implement in the lab. And whatever the steps I'm performing, all the steps you can do it, um, with your credit balance. All you have to do is once your practicals has done, just shut it down, deallocate, so that you will surely end up with 2000, or maybe $50 would be left over after 30 days also. Okay, anybody doubts? So this is a website.
Raja, I have a few questions actually.
Yeah, please.
You said temporary storage. While creating the VM, there will be one volume temporary storage
Yes.
will be created from Azure. What is the purpose of the temporary storage?
Azure services actually have a dependency on this temporary storage. Okay, this can be hidden also. This can be changed the drive letter also. We do have the option that. Okay, but
So by
Azure
default,
services,
to run Azure services, this is required.
that is
While
required.
creating the VM system.
Yeah. So
And
that's the product design actually. That's a product designed by Microsoft.
okay. And another one thing, if we don't want to, if you are not using our VM, as you said, we can shut down the VM and stop the resources
Billing.
also.
Yeah,
So it will be, it will be deallocated, and the IP and other things can be reallocated to some other server.
Yes, exactly.
If I'm coming back and I'm switching on my VM, what about my public IP and other resources?
Good question.
Back
So
the same, or
the public IP is depends on you. So example, this is my VM. Okay, so let's look at here on the network card. The IP definitely assigned to network card. So network card. So here, if we go here, say this is my IP configuration, right? So this is my public IP. Okay, this is the public side and the private. So in the public, I did choosing here as static. Okay, this is a static. If I go here, S is there. Okay, it's a static. Okay, but if I choose as a DSCP IP, okay, that means the every time it changes. Okay,
okay.
that's the
Okay, if the
option.
okay, if the public IP chose as static, means it will not be
Exactly.
it will not be reallocated to any other tenants.
Any other person until you reallocate to somebody. In fact, you can reserve let me go back to my search. See here, if I go, this is another place where you can search, okay, of or your marketplace, okay, public IP. Okay, so you have your public IPs. So example, now I wanted to reserve one. What I'll do is I'll go here, okay, I'll say I want for my NLB example. I'm gonna create my network load balancer later, so I'm reserving one IP. Okay, and this IP also should be resolved for my NLB LAN 501 name. With this name, a DNS record also it automatically creates for you, and it reserves if I choose a static. Okay,
Yep.
and I can choose whatever the data center I want. Okay, in this case in Hyderabad, say, and it creates that. So this is reserved for me. So what happens is by default 5 IPs Microsoft gives you, okay, for free. Post to that, okay, you can request Microsoft for some number uh, for free of charge. Okay, after that per IP it is charged almost $2 in a month. Okay, if you
Okay.
if you don't know, okay, example, okay, you can always go to the pricing calculator. Okay, simply
Okay.
calculate. You can always calculate what is my definitely it should be in under networking. Say here my IP address. Okay, I'm choosing my IP. This is comes into my planning section, my guys. Okay, so example, if I
Okay.
want one IP, okay, for 1 month, it's $2.98 for public IP. Okay,
Okay. By
hope
default, five IPs can be
approximately.
reserved for a particular
Yeah,
customer.
yes. And 5 actually. Opposed to that, not the reservation. I'm saying free. See here it is charging, right? $2.
Okay.
I'm talking about the cost. I'm talking about only cost, not the as many as you can, do it. Okay, up to 500, I think, in a resource group. Post to that, you have to request Microsoft so that they give you. Say example, I want to request right away from here. So what I'll do is, say example, I have problem with my IP address, so I'll raise a ticket directly from here. You no need to go to Microsoft and raise a concern. Okay, simply what I've done is I've chosen as a new support request. I'm saying here I have a problem with my component called this falls under network, so I should look at under network. Say here uh, for my NLB related, this comes example. Say example, I can choose this and so click on next. Okay, so I can raise the consent from here directly. Okay, so if it is a technical one, so I don't have the actually permission on this. This has been delegated, looks like. Okay, to raise it. Okay, but any resource you can directly raise even. Okay,
Yep.
so any other doubts? Let me browse my website which I've created. You can also browse with this name. Uh, so len501.azurewebsites.net. So this is available now as a first step. Okay, so the website which we have created as part of the web app services or from the new website, okay, from the web and mobile, we did created this website. Okay, this is up and running now. You guys can also browse with the 501 len 501 account dot azurewebsite.net. It gets automatically, and I can see the hits and I can monitor the specific web application. Say example this, and I can say the heats I can measure. And I do have I'm sorry, the web apps itself takes 2 to 3 days time. I'm sorry, I have to talk about slots, all those things, but it's a simple, very simple creation what I've shown to you. Okay, but we would create with a PowerShell, we would create with a bash shell. which is Linux guys, how they do. We also create in a Visual Studio, and also we do it from the browser. So just the web app, or a virtual machine creation, or any of the services, we try to do the same steps in a multiple ways. Okay, with a template, maybe a JSON template, or maybe bash. Say example, if you're a Linux guy, you can simply run directly from here. If I say, for the first time I can create like this, and it creates for me a storage space, and then I can execute directly whatever the commands I wanted against to this. Similarly, the PowerShell commands also I can do it. Okay, and yeah, that's it, guys. So the course fee is $250 US if you're attending from US normally, and 15,000 in Indian currency, which would take almost 30 to 40 hours, I would say normally, but it will extend sometimes more based on your questions and the interaction. This is one way of giving the demo, which I only talked, but in the next classes, you guys will be talking more also. Most of the questions will be welcomed, and we do it on what your understand on your understanding basis, not on what I know. Okay, uh, and the best practices we do from the architecture diagram. Okay, so there are there's a specific URL which talks about only architect solutions. We talk on these solutions, how we would place it. Example, there's a media services company. Example, digital media service company, how what kind of live streaming, what we can do. These are the real scenarios. Okay, example, you take it in India, NDTV or BBC, CNN, what kind of the services, how they can go for it as a solution. Okay, as a solution, maybe a normal simple web application which we have seen, um, backup and recovery, or all services if I choose. So we can discuss on these basis. Simple web application which has we did create a now a normal web application like this, but we have not placed a traffic manager, which is if a guy coming from US or Australia, that diverts to nearest one that does the traffic manager. Similarly, content delivery, the large videos actually already cached here, so that he would get it from even though the website is in US, he get it from Singapore, maybe if the user is coming from Singapore. So those services, application insights, this is com guy. So like this, many things are there. SQL in the backend, if it is on premises, how we integrate. If it is on a cloud, how we integrate. It's purely on real time with our real knowledge we apply. And if you have any specific requirements also, we can consider that, and we can go for migration. We can go for try that in the lab. Yeah. Uh, that's it, guys. Okay, you can contact me on my WhatsApp or my Skype, if you have my Skype and WhatsApp, or my phone or my WhatsApp group. So today, most of the guys are other guys are joined other than the Babu's team, or from different WhatsApp group, which is I have a normal discussions group. Okay, uh, and you guys can if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. I can show you, or I can explain those doubts. Either Bobu or his team, or maybe Sam. Sam, how do you feel
Uh,
this, Sam? Sam, you there?
Yeah, it's great. It's very enlightening. It's a great intro, and I find it very useful. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I
good.
currently don't have any questions, so
Okay, I'll catch you later then. Okay, definitely. Sam, thanks. Yeah, anybody has any other questions? Babu, you have any other question?
nothing from my side, Rajat. Probably we can continue now for the next
Okay,
one.
Balaji, you have any questions? Balaji, you have any questions?
Yeah, yeah. As of now, I don't have any questions. I will call you back in WhatsApp or call.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Gashrafi, do you have any other questions? Karthikeyan, you have any other questions? Sudhakar? No, okay. Suresh?
Yeah, nothing. We are good with the demo. We'll come back to you for the next
Yeah.
videos.
Hey, Swami, how are you, man?
Hi, guys. I'm fine. Yeah, maybe in future classes I may get back to you with the questions.
Yeah, this is, one attempt with a lot of, at once, to be honest. Um, just to create a VM, we take it, 3-4 days to understand how the network groups, the security, NSGs, firewalls, or what happens with the NLB. All these things we would, learn in detail. Not this is not the way to, create the course. Okay. In fact, okay. Um, because to be frank, what we're trying to do is, if you think this is only the course, not exactly this. If you consider the architectural diagrams, we can't plan. If we learn just spin up that, maybe we can time pause with the VMs, but that's not enough for us when it comes to the solution
Yep.
provided. Okay, that's why I just try to give you how it looks like, the interface. That's it. Okay.
Okay. And Raj, is it that you'll be going to cover Intune part also,
Intune
or
is
the
no.
only course?
No, I would
Okay.
cover Intune as a separate session. I have requirement of almost 10 candidates. I would definitely allow to continue
Mhm.
Intune, but
Yeah.
post this as a separate session.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, guys. I would keep this window, chat window, for 2-3 minutes. Some guys has questions. I'm just shooting them. If you have any questions in between, you can always ping me. So this is my WhatsApp and email ID. You can get in touch with me.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I need to drop off, so
Yeah, thank you, guys. Okay, thank you for attending.
thanks.
We'll catch you. I do call you back. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks.